Hello friends, welcome back to my channel again. Thank you very much for your active responses and likes to my recent videos. I would see some of my subscribers requested to make a video on UDS protocol, so here it is. Before we go to the video, I would request you to subscribe to my channel for notification on future videos. Okay, what is UDS protocol? So as the name suggests, UDS means Unified Diagnostic Services. And here, the name unified represents international standards and it is not specific to any of the specific company. So UDS protocol will allow the diagnostic system to communicate with ECU. So UDS protocol will act as a bridge between the diagnostic systems and the ECUs. For what for? It is to diagnose the fault or to use it for the sensor calibration or in order to reprogramming the ECUs. So as on date, all the Tier 1 suppliers who manufacture the electronic control unit should be using this communication protocol. So why there is a mandatory use for Tier 1 that I have mentioned in the why section. And this UDS is specified in the ISO 14229 standard and it is designed based on the OSI, which is nothing but the Open System Interconnection Reference Model. So UDS in ISO 14229 standard. So ISO 14229 was established in order to define common requirements for the diagnostic systems. But in order to achieve this, based on the OSI reference model, they structured the communication systems into 7 layers. So they are layer 1, which is nothing but the transmission and reception of raw bit streams through physical medium, which is nothing but the physical layer. Then we have the layer 2, which is the data link layer. So it is for the reliable transmission of data between nodes which are connected in the physical layers. Okay. And layer 3 is a networking layer, so which is for structuring and managing a multi-node network. And layer 4, it is for the reliable transmission of data segments between points on a network. Layer 5, which is nothing but the sessions layer. So it is to manage the communication sessions. And layer 6 is a presentation layer. So it's a translation of data between networking services and an application. And finally, the layer 7, which is nothing but the application layer for the high level APIs. So here from layer 1 until layer 6, it belongs to the communication services. And the layer 7, it belongs to the unified diagnostic services. So this is how the 7 layers are structured based on the ISO 14229 on ISO. Why UDS protocol? So as you know, vehicles will work with many combinations of ECUs and components. So OEM, they tend to integrate ECUs and components from different suppliers. So it is very unlikely that all these ECUs would be from the same supplier. And so the suppliers will be using different protocols. So OEMs and suppliers have to deal with the compatibility issues on different protocols. So hence there is a need to have a common protocol and definitions for the diagnostic systems. So UDS is the preferred protocol for all the onboard and offboard diagnostics. So onboard diagnostics via UDS. So here we could see a typical communication between a tester and the vehicle. So here the client, it represents a part of a tester which makes use of the diagnostic services, and server that you see it over here, server 1 2 3, and server, it represents a function that is a part of the electronic control unit itself. If you see the entire block, it's the ECU itself, and part of the ECU, a functional part of the ECU is nothing but the server which provides the diagnostic services. That is what we call it as a server. So here we could see how the tester communicates with the ECUs in order to read or write the data. from or to the ECU. So this is a typical representation of the onboard diagnostics in the vehicle. So previously we had seen a block diagram representation of the client to server communication. So now we will see how it happens in the real vehicle. So firstly, we have a car, which is an integration of multiple ECUs, and each ECU will be followed or implemented with the UDS protocol. And now we have a tester. The objective is to communicate with the vehicle to either to do a fault diagnosis or calibration of sensors or configuration of features or even programming of the ECUs. So for which the tester needs a diagnostic systems. So which is nothing but the client, also the interface to connect with the vehicle. In this case, it is the OBD cable. Uh, and in all the recent vehicles, you would see the OBD port seen under the driver's side dashboard. You see it over here. So in all the recent vehicles, you will see the OBD port being it's been made available in order to read through it. So you can connect the OBD interface, OBD cable interface into this port to get connected with the server. So now what we have done is in the real vehicle, we have the client connected to the server in this medium, in this way. So if you are working with one single ECU, then of course you will be interacting only with that particular ECU. But in the vehicle, all the ECUs will be connected to the OBD via vehicle CAN network. So what happens is that we have multiple ECUs. All those ECUs will have the vehicle CAN network. So all those vehicle CAN networks are being connected to one single port, and it is made available in this OBD port, so that we can access all the ECUs, provided you should know the diagnostic request identifier for the respective ECU. If you know the identifier for the respective ECUs, you can access any number of ECUs or even all the ECU data for the matter of reading the like to read the fault or to write some data or do some calibration. For all the ECUs, you can do it with this one single port. So it is connected to all the ECUs in the vehicle. So that's how this tester to the server or the vehicle communication happens in this kind of a format. In the service overview, we'll see about the service identifier groups. So service identifiers are categorized as diagnostics and communication management, data transmission, stored data transmission, input output control, remote activation of routing, and upload or download. So in each category we have specific set of service identifier which falls under these categories, so which we will be seeing it next. So in the first section of diagnostic and communication management, we'll see about the service identifiers. So these are the service identifiers. So we have 10 service which belongs to diagnostic session control, which is available in the default session, and it also do have the sub functions for the extended as well as for the programming session. So that is what they call it as a sub function here. And we have 11 service for the ECU reset, which also do have the hard reset and soft reset. We have two different sub functions in it, so it is also available in the default session. And the next service is 27 service, which is also available in default session with a sub function. So this is for the security access. And 28 service for the communication control, which also do have the default session as well as has the sub functions for it. And 3 is for the tester present to stay with the communication between the client and server. And 83 is the access timing parameter, which has a sub function for it. And we have 84 is for the secure data transmission, and 85 service is for the control DTC setting, and 86 is for the response on the event which has occurred, and the 87 service is for the link control. So the next group of identifiers are data transmission and stored data transmission. So data transmission, under which we have the service identifier 22 service. It is the read data by identifier. So it is available at the default session, but it doesn't have any sub functions towards it. So all you have to do is 22 followed by the data identifier, and it's called the read data by identifier. And then 23 is for the read memory by address, and 24 is for read scaling data by identifier, and 2a is for the read data by periodic identifier. For all these identifiers you don't have any sub functions, but it is available at the default session. And 2c is for the dynamically defined data identifier, which has the sub functions for it, and it is available in the default session. And we have the 2e service, which is the write data by identifier, where it is used to write the data. So along with the 2e service identifier, you need to add the data identifier for it in order to write any of the data to the ECU. And the 3d is the write memory by address, and the next section is the stored data transmission. So 14 service is for the clear fault memory or clear diagnostics information. So when you send this service, it will clear the diagnostics information in the ECU. And 19 service is for the read DTC information. So it is available at the default session, and at the same time it does have the sub functions, like whether you wanted to read all the failures, or you wanted to read the failures which are inactive, or failures which are temporarily stored. So masked DTC information, you could see it through this service identifier. And the next category of the service identifier are input output control, and we have the remote activation of routine and upload and download. So in the input output control, we have 2F service identifier, which is for the input output control by identifier, which and then we have the remote activation of routine, under which we have the 31 service for routine control, so which you can use it for the for configuring the features. And we have the under the upload or download functions, you have the 34 service identifier for request download, and you have the 35 identifier for request upload, and 36 is for the data transfer, and for 37 services for the request transfer for exit. So these are all the service identifier for which you don't have the default session, so it will work under the programming sessions only, so it doesn't have any sub functions as well. So with that, we had come to the conclusion of this video. So in this video we have covered about what is the UDS protocol and why to use the UDS protocol, and what is the onboard diagnostics, then client to server link with the help of a real vehicle onboard diagnostics example, and then about the UDS service overview. So in the next video, I'll be putting more in detail about the each and every service identifier with an example of CAPL program. Hope you like my video. Please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for future videos. Thank you.